Very good evening, everyone. Wishing everyone a very happy Diwali. I think the most inevitable thing that we do during Diwali is shopping, and nowadays it will be online shopping. Shopping maybe through the website of a specific brand or visiting a platform which offers various brands at one place. The same thing applies in case of credit products as well. If I want to avail a loan, I can either go to the website of a specific lender or I may visit one of the platforms. There are various platforms nowadays that offers the aggregation for various lenders and various loan products at one place for me to make a choice and take an informed decision. This is the concept of multi-lender platforms. RBI in May 2025 had consolidated all the applicable guidelines related to digital lending, and one of the additional requirements that were introduced was compliances for LSPs having arrangements with multiple lenders and offering their products on the same platform. Since this is effective from 1st November, which is less than a week from now, so I think there are few things that becomes important for us to understand, discuss the fundamental principles and the regulatory requirements for operating this kind of multi-lender platforms. I think the first question, sir, that I have for you would be, why is there a distinct regime altogether for multi-lender platforms? What exactly is the concern to bring this specific regulatory requirement under para 6 of the digital lending platforms?
Okay, so Anita, it's not a distinct regime as such, but it's an additional, I would call it additionality in the regime that applies to loan sourcing partners. LSPs are required to adhere to several conditions, which I'm sure is not probably discussed today. But when the LSPs and LSP for multiple lenders and proclaims to proposing for a potential borrower that I'm getting a loan not just for one lender, from one lender, but from multiple lenders, and I would allow you the benefit of competitive rate quotes from different lenders. Then this so-called multi-lender platform, MLP, let's call it for sake of peace, MLP. The MLP is making an additional proposition to the potential borrower that I'm like Amazon of the lending world. You talked about shopping during Diwali, but this is similar. When I go to Amazon, I know that I would hopefully get the best deal because I have multiple vendors there and I can choose what I want and I can probably get a most competitive deal. Similarly, when a borrower goes to a single lender platform, he's then shopping from borrower from lender to lender for getting the best deal. But when he chooses to go on a multi-lender platform, he is given the proposition that this platform is not just giving quote from one lender but from multiple lenders. So multiple lenders are competing to lend to you. And therefore the borrower will get the best deal. Number two, the borrower can make an informed choice because the borrower can then compare the alternative quotes and decide what it does. So the ability to compare, the ability to get a competitive deal, the ability to therefore widen the choice and at one go look at multiple lenders instead of shopping from one platform to another. That's the basic proposition of a multi-lender platform. In other words, I'm not choosing to shop from platform to platform, I'm going to a single platform where I'm told by the so-called MLP that the MLP will be placing alternative quotes of such lenders or willing to lend to you. And you can then decide which is the one that you would like to choose. The borrower is almost like a Swayamvar situation. I mean, he's multiple shooters willing to put the garland in his neck, and he's the one who decides whose garland to be put. So that proposition carries a very important premise that the organizer of the platform does not have a hidden agenda. The organizer of the platform, the MLP itself, is completely neutral. The MLP does not have preferences. The MLP is not disguising information. The MLP is not the MLP is not doing anything whereby the very purpose of multi-lending platform, which is getting competitive with the borrower, can very purpose less constitution. So the multi-lender platforms, multi-vendor platforms, there are plenty, like I think almost everything that we buy, including services that we avail, we go to multi-vendor platforms. We go for flight bookings, or we go for car bookings, or even for hiring a venue, or buying a product. We all go for multi-vendor websites today, where the website places ordinary reports. So similarly, when you go to a loan platform, the the principles that are applicable to any such multi-vendor platform are equally applicable to multi-lender platform as well. Most important being the principle of neutrality. So the objective of the RBI trying to place some stipulation that the RBI is actually placed very skeletal conditions in the so-called Para 6 of digital lending directions. It's just a small hint from the RBI as to what is it that's expecting from this so-called multi-lender platforms. But much of the conditionalities for multi-lending platforms are coming from general law of platform. A platform, as opposed to someone trying to sell his own product, indicates the basic premise of neutrality. So that's something which is coming even beyond. RBI is not talking about, impartiality or lack of bias, etc. But larger principles for platforms are derived from the basic law dealing with platforms. Anita, I think that's where we can probably commence discussion, but probably have more to discuss on this particular one.
Yes, we will be discussing on the various principalities or the principles that the platform should maintain and adhere. But before that, what exactly, so when I say that who can be a multi-lender platform, or how do I identify that there is a multi-lender platform? There could be several agents or several platforms that are just really acting as a referral agent. They are just providing referral to the lenders, to various lenders for that matter. Or there could be DLA, which is just specific to a one particular lender. So it is acting as the interface with the borrower for a particular lender only. When do I say that the MLP, or we are naming it as multi-lender platform, will get attracted, or we have to maybe comply with that?
So two conditions quite obvious. Number one, it's multi-lender as opposed to a single lender. I'm not acting as agent of just one lender, I'm acting as agent of multiple lenders. So that would be. Now, I'm just making another point here, which I should make very quickly before I go further. Is that even if for a particular borrower, the matching lender is one, but before the borrower puts in his request, the borrower is told that I have approval from multiple lenders to be able to offer you a loan. So I started with the premise that I might be choosing, or I might be offered loans from multiple lenders, even though the ultimate offer might be only from one single lender. That would still constitute a multi-lender platform. So question basically, what is multi-lender? Number one, this is a case of LS. We talked about pure referral service. The word is quite clear. I am an LS. So number one, I am a loan selling sourcing partner. That would mean I am acting as an agent. I am not merely a referral person. I'm not merely the one who picks up data and sends it to potential lenders. I'm authorized to act as an agent. That would mean I have been authorized to act in capacity of an agent, and therefore I can represent through my actions. I can bind through my actions the potential lender. First thing, therefore, he must be an LSP. LSP of multiple lenders who makes a proposition to the borrower that I would be able to source for you a loan from competing multiple lenders. Even if the ultimate result is that I have only one matching lender, rest are all unmatched. I hope that's it.
Right. So, over here, what we understand is that if the LSP is acting on behalf of multiple lenders, it is not just any LSP, because LSP could be someone who is providing any service with respect to the entire lending process. So it is not just this customer acquisition or the underwriting service, but that particular LSP is actually assisting in the entire digital lending journey.
Right.
So we may be indicating to such LSPs who are actually either owning a platform, a DLA, and from there, from that platform, if they are making the offer to the borrower from multiple lenders, those LSPs that are providing that platform to multiple lenders and the borrower will get covered under the multi-lender platform. If I have to put it.
I would agree. I would say number one, the process is digital. That would mean the lending is digital. And the interface between the borrower and the LSP is also digital.
Right.
So the digital interface where the loan journey is substantially digital. That's where the
And it is being
MLP.
carried out on that platform, which the LSP is providing. Because if it is just a referral
Loan
agent
sourcing.
platform, that cannot be said to be a multi-lender.
Loan sourcing or loan selling is happening through the platform, which is saying that I will get you a loan,
Right.
not just from one lender, but from multiple lenders. That's the, a beginning premise of applicability of MLP regulations.
Now, for an MLP, you mentioned that the intent of the regulations is that the platform should be unbiased and neutral. So, what exactly are these principles that should maybe govern, or these principles that will underline the functionality of the platforms? From where do we get the hint of these principles that should be adhered to?
Right. So I wouldn't say that the RBI's para 6 is saying it all, but like I mentioned earlier, that a lot of these principles come from the general law of platform. As I said, platforms exist both in physical commerce as also in digital commerce. The so-called mandis, that is distant trade of goods and services, goods primarily, they're all basically platforms. A marketplace is a platform. So the law governing marketplaces, the law governing platforms is the generic law where we say that multiple lenders, multiple vendors are allowed to put their offerings in the platform. So that's the basic principle number one here, that we're talking about the MLP being an agent. So number one, as an agent, he has legal authority to make the offers. He's the one who's going to make the offer.
Right.
He's not simply, he's not a communication agent. He's making an offers on behalf of lenders. Number one, he's been authorized by each of the lenders to make offers on their behalf. That's part. So he has a binding agreement whereby he's entitled to act as LSP and make offers to potential borrowers. Part one. Part two, a very, very important principle of any platform is neutrality. A platform would lose its entire credibility if the platform is the one who decides which lender should actually be lending. That's between the borrower. The borrower chooses among competing lenders, which means the platform is completely neutral. The platform is not preferring one over the other. The platform might have conflicts of interest as well. For example, the platform might be one of the lenders himself. Besides, if the platform is a regulated entity, for example, the platform might be one of the potential lenders. But there are other lenders as well. So the platform has to be completely neutral to allow the benefit of free and fair choice to the world. I think most important principle, the very reason for existence of a platform and the very reason how a platform will justify itself in its nomenclature in the platform is that the platform itself is completely neutral. Right of free and fair choice. A borrower would not be able to make a free or fair choice if the platform tries to anyway merge or disguise or kind of override the information which is provided by the lenders. And this is something that we like to talk about later. These quite often platforms are the one who kind of code their own codes. Idea is not for the platform to give the code. Idea is for the lenders to give the code. For the particular borrower, based on the borrower's categorization, based on the borrower's parameters, it's for the lenders to provide the respective codes, not for the platform to provide its own code. There has to be complete transparency. That would be each lender's whatever codes there are, have to be disclosed completely transparently. Of course, the platform should not use or leverage the information provided by the borrower for cross-marketing or for some other uses. That would be the information is provided here for the purpose of getting competing loans. As is the basic premise of any data mining, data assimilation, you can use the data only for the purpose for which it was provided. And that's the basic principle of DPDP as well. That any data principal provides data to a data fiduciary, the fiduciary can use it only for that purpose. And of course, any offer which is put on the MLP has to be certain. That's another very important principle because certain, whenever you're putting an offer, the offer is certain. The offer may be accepted. If the offer is certain, accepted, you cannot backtrack and say that, oh, this was just kind of tentative offer. So there's nothing called tentative or subjective offers. The offers are offers, which means the offers may just be accepted. These, I think, I would say the most crucial principle is one of neutrality. But each of these principles are significant in terms of what are the basic rules applicable to the offers.
So while ensuring all these principles, the platform needs to make sure that the loan offers, which you mentioned, cannot be just an indicative loan offer, it has to be the final loan offer. Because from a lender's perspective, we understand that if a borrower has made a request for availing a loan, So a prelim analysis is done by the platform. The job of the platform itself includes that yes, you are doing a prelim assessment based on the credit filters that the lenders, various lenders must have already provided.
Right.
And based on that, loan offers are therefore made by the lenders through the platform to the borrower. Now, can I say that these loan offers are just indicative or they are subject to change or final offer will be made after maybe the lender carries out further due diligence or the KYC or the other checks under a lending process? How do you think that the display of, because this is all about the display of the application, how will that go? How do we show the offers to people?
So let's take it a step back and think of a LSP acting for a single lender. Forget multi-lenders for a single. Adding an LSP acting for a single lender, and the borrower puts in the information, the LSP says this is the offer fee. Now that offer is offer. That would mean once the borrower accepts it, that's a contract. There, the LSP cannot go back and say that I'll consult with my final principal and whether the principal is willing to lend you at all or will lend you at the rate that I offer. Because idea basically is that you are the LSP or agent of the principal, you are agent of the lender, and presumably you have the authority. Whatever is the agreement between the agent and the ultimate lender, which means lender, the ultimate lender might have given the credit filters, might have given his pricing scale, basis the parameters and the scale already provided. It's the LSP who is doing the check, making the borrower fit into one of the sort of let's say rankings in the multi or it's a scale the ranks of the category in which the borrower fits in and eventually give a rate. But once the LSP gives the rate, that's the rate. And there's no further contingency or uncertainty of fluidity about it. The moment we move from a single lender LSP to a multi-lender LSP, the situation does not change. Okay, they are the premise of the MLPs that I have authority from each of the lenders. I would do the check, find out which of these are matching with the requirement, which of these are not. For example, there might be lenders who probably say, okay, I wouldn't lend to someone whose CIBIL score is pretty to scale is less than 700. There might be those who probably say, okay, I'm happy with a particular geography or I have a limitation, I wouldn't lend more than let's say 50,000 rupees to a particular. So basis the filters, whether loan size, borrower classification, borrower geography, borrower's credit bureau score, etc. The platform says these are lenders whose filters are matching with you, and these are the respective rates. So that's not indicative or tentative anymore. Of course, it's subject to further check. Further check in the sense the KYC check is preliminary. I have done the credit check. Credit DD is something that I have done. I have not done the customer DD, CDD. I have not done the KYC check. I have not done documentation. Therefore, to the extent KYC, CDD, DD checks, or any other verifications still pending, to that extent, I can still say, okay, the loan is subjective. But otherwise, if the borrower accepts one of these competing loans, the NLP cannot go back and say that the borrower would not lend you at all,
The lender will.
or lender would not lend you at all, or the lender would not lend you at the rate that I demonstrated. That would be finality in terms of basic rates, basic terms, finality in terms of the approval process. Subject, of course, to KYC and CDGs.
So then that means that a comparative view of all the loan offers from the matching lenders will be shown on the display of the application. And once the borrower selects or refers some of the lenders, or it can be one or more of the lenders with whom it wants to. Now over there also there could be a question that can the borrower select more than one lender from whom he wants to avail the loan? Because I just want to avail one particular loan. But since there is an option that there are more than one matching lenders that I have. So can the borrower also opt for choosing and going ahead with more than one lender?
Given the fact that there is still some degree of subjectivity. For example, KYC checks, etc. still pending. A borrower may try to make the process faster and select more than one lender. He might say that, okay, I'm willing to go ahead with, there are 4 who are matching, I'm willing to go with 2. Then the process continue with 2. I know the rates there are, the rates are given in comparative format. The information which is displayed in comparative format includes the rate of interest and the amount of EMI, the size of loan, the penal charges, which are basic factors basis which the borrower will make choice. Those are there in comparative statement. I'll choose the 2 that I like. And then I might say, okay, I'm willing to proceed with both. Assuming that both of them agree, it's my decision then to go with one rather than the other. That would mean here, the borrower might say, I am selecting only one. Borrower is the one who's doing selection. It's an open question whether at that stage the other lender whose loan was processed but not actually selected by the borrower may still have a legitimate right to claim processing fees. Because the process has already gone to certain extent. Both of them the KYC checks. So whether processing fee is applicable, if applicable in that case, the platform should demonstrate or should display that, should be clearly displayed. So the borrower knows that I might be hit with dual processing fees, but I may still make the GRT funds. It's the borrower's choice.
And when I talk about, because this multi-lender platform, we already have a concept of multi-lenders and the co-lending, where there are more than one co-lenders. And these co-lenders can also lend through the platform under a digital lending arrangement. If there are co-lenders or if the platform itself is one of the co-lenders or maybe just a single lender. So there could be multiple lending arrangements. There are single lenders, there are co-lenders. The platform is either involved as a single lender or a co-lender. In all these situations, does this make any difference? Yeah, does this?
I mean, the MLP rules will applicable. For example, if I have X and Y is one combo, X and Z is another combo, X and A is another combo, X itself is a fourth combo, or a fourth option. Each of these are various lender combinations. Lenders may either be a combination, lender might be a single lender, and the LSP acting as LSP may itself also be giving a loan. The LSP can say either take a loan from me alone, or take a loan from me along with Anita, or take a loan from me along with Anita. So there are various options which the borrower has. The moment you give options for the borrower to choose from, it becomes an LLP. So therefore, even if the loans are from co-lenders, including a loan from a single lender as well, it could still be an LLP. And therefore, would be covered by each of the LLP requirements.
And there could also be a situation where there are multiple lenders who are matching. How do I rank them, or what is the mechanism that is there something that has to be disclosed, or what is the mechanism for ranking the offers from different lenders from whom I have matched?
Okay, so ranking as the usual, first of all, ranking should not be based on, something which is not borrower centric. Ranking has to be done so as to give the best deal to the borrower. Right? Now, for instance, what could be the algorithm for ranking? Let's say the borrower the lender is offering the cheapest rates from lower to higher, and we usually find most of the ranking options. Lower to higher, higher to lower, based on loan size, based on let's say proximity to you. So the ranking could also be a kind of optionality. I can choose to rank it in whichever way I prefer, but the ranking should not be with the view for the LSP to give a preference to a particular lender. If the LSP is putting its own preferred lender on the top of the rank or top of the rung, then the LSP is trying or the MLP is trying to promote a particular lender. That's something which is case specifically barred by regulation 6 as well. But I would say it's also militates against the very basic principle of neutrality. The neutrality is the central theme here, and therefore anything the LSP does to kill the neutrality or to kill the competitiveness. Competitiveness is another very important concept because the whole purpose of MLP is to provide competitive corresponding this. So there again, the LSP cannot do anything which is killing the competitiveness or killing the neutrality.
So when we discuss about ranking, that will be relevant if there are different loan terms or offers made by different lenders. Can there be a situation all the lenders on the platform are offering the same terms, same rate, and the option to the borrower is nothing but actually, yes, it's choose anyone because all of them are making the same offer. So can the platform or the LSP play a role in maybe nullifying the competition altogether and just making the offer equal across all lenders?
So Anita, I talked about the Swayamvar analogy, and let me dwell on that once again. Think of Sita Swayamvar. If the 20 Rajkumars would come all at similar faces, all look like Raja Ram, and the Swayamvar would lose its meaning. Any Swayamvar which is to make a choice, the bride is to choose the groom or vice versa, would lose its meaning altogether if the faces looked all completely alike. So what is the purpose of an MLP if all the lenders give the same rate? First question, is it likely that all lenders will give the same rate? Every lender has its own cost of capital, all lender has its own assessment of risk. Every lender has its own processing cost, admin cost, etc. So it's unlikely that in business, different lenders will have the same, completely same rate to the single loan. Very, very unlikely. If you go to Amazon or go to ClearTrip or Make My Trip and you find same rate for all company vendors, and the platform is doing something nice. So to my mind, the platform is playing a role here in giving. The rates are to be quoted by the lenders, not by the platform. Platform is quoting such rates as are indicated by the respective lenders. If respective lenders told the platform that you quote the rates for me, number one, that would be like outsourcing of a very core function, I would say. But in any case, the platform shouldn't do anything whereby the very competitive nature, which is to give the best deal to the borrower, the most competitive deal, is frustrating. So the question of equating or trying to equate the loan offers, I think that would be, to my mind, I think that's killing the very idea of it. I think even if that's happening, that's very, very anti-competitive. I think even the competition loses. Because after all, if the platform does something which is against principles of competition, Section 3 of Competition Act talks about using or trying to have an adverse material impact on competition. Appreciable adverse impact. Of course, you need to read it with elaborate provisions of Section 19, but let's not go to legally here. Very simple. The whole idea of platform is to allow the borrower to make a comparison. What do I compare if all lenders have the same rate? But that wasn't the case actually. So it's probably somewhere the LSP is playing its role to try and equal the offers. I think that would be completely against the principle of platforms.
We do realize that para 6 of the digital lending guidelines is the framework under which MLPs will have to govern their operations. But in addition to para 6, you see there are any other regulations or references that will be relevant for the operations of MLPs?
Yes, very certainly, because the definition of e-commerce entity, consumer protection e-commerce rules very clearly apply to a digital lending platform too, because the digital lending platform is trying to sell digitally a loan service, the service of procuring a loan, which is also a service. The service of procuring or being able to source a loan is also a service which is being offered digitally, and therefore it comes in definition of e-commerce entity. It does not come within, arguably does not come in definition of marketplace entity, or does not come, it may not, surely doesn't come in the definition of what do you say, inventory model e-commerce entity. However, it very, very clearly comes in definition of e-commerce entity. And as such, it is surely bound by the principles of the principles in the consumer protection rules applicable to e-commerce entities. What are the principles? One basic principle is that it's not using an unfair practice, unfair trade practice. Unfair trade practices, once again, there are plenty. There are a lot of illustrations of what could be regarded as unfair. Therefore, the MLP should not be adopting practices which are unfair. Rest of the requirements are either too general or anyway are applicable to LSP. For example, you need to have agreements with fiscal officer. You don't need to take an so-called automatic consent. Consents are positive, not merely implied. You will not manipulate the price. I think this once again very important. The MLP should not manipulate the price of goods or services offered on the platform in such a manner as to gain unreasonable profit by imposing on consumers any unjustified price. So once again, the point that we were making earlier. Different lenders have their own lending rates. The MLP is trying to equate that by adding its own servicing fees so as to equate the rates. That would mean the difference is being filled by the servicing fees. That would mean the MLPs make the role to add a cost, which may be arguably unjustified cost, because after all, the MLP's role does not, for the same customer, the MLP cannot argue that my cost is different for different levels. You are ultimately servicing the same borrower. You have the same risk, even if you are, let's say, for example, DLG provider, default last guarantee provider. Your risk is same because you have the same borrower. For a single borrower, you cannot say that if I go to 5 different lenders, my servicing fees for that very borrower would be different. And that difference would exactly be to equate the loan offers made by the lender. So I think I understand there are prevailing market practices here in the 1st November is the time when these rules become applicable. And let's also understand the RBI gave plenty of time. सोचने का मौका दिया भाई, please. There are things that require you to सुधरो, then probably सुधर जाओ. So I think this is all through the digital lending world and to the LSPs of the world that there might be a strong need to refine practices. One cannot argue that whatever has been prevailing in the past is still good. That's not saying. Because there's a very clear expectation here that you are giving a fair deal to the borrower, which is the whole idea. Right? So, to my mind, the principles of e-commerce entities are also applicable to MLPs.
So I think a lot of understanding from the perspective of MLPs. As a consumer, if I want to avail a loan and I apply on a platform, I do not want it to have an impact or an adverse impact on my credit score. If there are multiple lenders, there is a risk that each of the lenders will be seeing my credit score, they will be checking my credit information, and it will have an impact on my credit score as well. How is the platform playing a role over here so as to ensure that the borrower's credit score is not getting unduly impacted just because there are multiple lenders whose loan offer the borrower can avail? And how does the entire MNP platform structure ensures this?
So, to an extent, if the borrower was wanting to get the best deal and he went shopping to different lenders for getting the best offer, every lender will try and do a credit check of it. There again, there will be checks by multiple lenders on the credit score. Therefore, if you're saying the credit score gets impacted because there are multiple searches on my credit history, then that impact would be there even if I went to different lenders. I'm going to a single MLP with a hope that I'm better off than going to multiple lenders, both in terms of getting the best deal and also not getting an undue impact on the credit history. To that extent, if the NLP becomes what you call a specified user under credit CIC rules, it would help because in that case the LSP is the one which is extracting the data and not each individual lender, and therefore there's only one search on the credit history, not multiple searches, and that would therefore smoothen the process and also makes the borrower better. So that's a kind of I would not say it's a necessity. I would not say you're doing injustice because credit checks are KYC checks are being done by multiple lenders. But to make it better than approaching multiple lenders separately, an NLP can probably bring in that additional advantage as well. That your bureau score will not get impacted because I'll be the one doing the search rather than each individual lender.
I think these were the questions that I had, but
So let's ask our participants. Do we have any?
we have participants and there are questions. The first question from the participant is the same that we discussed. What if all the lenders are offering at the same rate? Is it happening in their case? So how do I proceed? I think we have already
Something
discussed.
that we discussed that when I go to make my trip and look at the roads given when I can go to make my trip or clear trip on whichever other travel engine, I get the same rate. I go to Amazon, I don't get same rate from different vendors. So getting the same rate from different lenders looks as unrealistic as getting the same, once again, the Swanker story. I mean, Rajkumar is coming along with exactly the same case, unlended. So that's Swamper who is going to use this meaning again. And therefore, I don't think, I mean, though that's a reality which I think very might have mentioned. That's a reality, but there the LSP was playing the role. The LSPs might have to improvise their practices. That's the whole expectation. Come 1st November, if need be, amend your practices. If need be, try to rework on your servicing fees so as to give the benefit of competitive quotes to borrower, not to yourself.
In case any of the participants have any other questions or they want to maybe speak.
Hi, can I ask a question?
Will enable if people would like to ask a question. Anyone wanting to ask any question at all?
Yeah, hi. I'd like to ask a question if that's possible.
It's
Siddharth.
Yes.
Siddharth is wanting to speak. I'm unable to hear. I'm just.
Should I continue?
Just give us a moment, Siddharth.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to ask a question.
Yeah, what's the question?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, speak the question.
Oh, yeah. So basically, I work with earned wage access player, where essentially,
Neighbor, please, Siddharth, can you text it quickly, please? Quickly text it.
sure.
Text it quickly. Or maybe speak.
Yes, Siddharth, you may please speak.
Oh, okay. I started typing the question, but I'll just ask it. So, first of all, thank you so much for this session. It's really informative. So, I actually work at Earned Wage Access Player, and we have partnerships with multiple NBFCs. And essentially, unlike your traditional B2C lending model, we actually follow a B2B2C lending model where the employer does the repayment of the outstanding amount on the behalf of the borrower, right? So my question over here is that now in this scenario, can the borrower then also do one level of underwriting on the employer's repayment behavior, and hence sort of put the pricing of the loan, which then gets passed on to the borrower?
Trying to understand the point. The question is that eventually the payments are coming from the employer, because as long as the employee is in employment with a particular employer, the EMIs for the car, I think we're talking about a car loan or any other employee-based loan,
Yeah.
will be paid by the employer. But should there be a severance where the employee ceases to be in employment,
Hmm.
in that case the risk shifts to the employer. To that
Correct.
extent, the lender has a risk on the employee as well. Is that the perspective?
Yeah. Basically, there is some risk on the employer as well.
Largely the risk on the employer, because the employer,
Correct.
as long as the emoluments are due, the payments are made by the employer. It's only where the emoluments are not due, for example, the employee leaves altogether, that's when the risk shifts to the employer.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, the question is, should the pricing of the loan, or for that matter the lease, be linked with the employee's credit risk as well? I would have said yes, because there's a limited risk on the employee too. And therefore, if the lender or lenders are doing the pricing quote after incorporating the risk of the employer as well as the employee in question, that's the way it should be. I don't have a dispute on that.
The lending, because mostly the employer will have a direct arrangement with the lender for these transactions.
But Siddharth said that it's a B2B2C transaction which is happening digitally. So if it's happening digitally,
Yes.
and there might be, let's say, possibility of getting competing quotes from different lenders there as well, which is, I think, these days some platforms are trying to do that as well. So then the pricing of the loan should, you're correct, it should appropriately capture the employee risk as well.
And hence based on the employer risk, and that is basically where the differentiated pricing can come into the picture, and then the lender which is offering the cheapest rate to the borrower can be then shown upfront to the borrower for their best interest.
No, Siddharth, I think we have a little difference here. The idea of the platform is not to show the one that I have selected for you. I
No, sir.
don't do selection at all. I just do matching.
Yes, sir.
Meaning I would say,
Sorry, I am also not saying that. What I'm trying to say is that now let's say I have three lenders on my platform, and then let's say an employee of company A comes, right? Now the NBFC A will, let's say, give it at price A, price B, and price C respectively. Now, as per the guidelines, I am forced to show. I need to show all three, but
all
just
those,
in
correct.
terms of ordering it, I will show price A on top because that is the
That's
lowest.
fine. I can order it, but otherwise, it's not like there are. I mean, I need to do a kind of ordering or ranking when there are 20 offers. If the offers are two or three or four, probably it's too easy to even if you present it otherwise. For example, even if you were to present it alphabetically, it's
Hmm.
quite clear.
Hmm.
I mean, the API is very clearly shown. So,
Yes.
if you're ordering from, let's say, the cheapest to the costliest, or let's say, in terms of ranking by loan sizes
Hmm.
or loan tenures or EMIs, then allow the borrower to shift the ranking basis. I mean, you can, as we do mostly in whatever ranking we do, you can, the sorting option, you can sort it by one of
Okay.
these. That would make it very, very transparent. I can basically let the borrower do the comparison. He might be looking more than the rate of interest he might look at EMI. For example, one is offering 36 months, the other one is offering only 30 months. Even if I have to pay a higher rate, I might choose the 36 months.
My argument over here would be that if the user or the borrower is asking for 36 months, and if the NBFC too, in the example that you gave, is only offering 30 months, then
Then
I
it's
would
not
argue
matching.
then it is not matching only. Then that
That's
option is
not
grayed out.
matching.
Then it is grayed out.
Correct. If the borrower clearly say that I would need a loan of rupees 1 lakh for 36 months, of course, the borrower wouldn't say at what rate of interest.
Yeah.
Then someone is offering less than 1 lakh or somebody is offering less than 36 months will get erased out.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. That was my question. I think.
Right. And any other questions from anyone at all? Or else we'll wait for next 10 seconds. Okay. If not, then it's time for us, Anita, to say thanks to everyone. It's been a wonderful session, and we hope to in future as well we'll get your active participation. I just want to say that we have a full day session on lending and loan sourcing on the 7th of November. And in that full day workshop, we will intend to cover multi-lender platforms also, loan sourcing in general, but multi-lenders in particular in that full day workshop as well. So in case any of you are not registered so far, most welcome. We just got few seats remaining now. Therefore, please do see the particulars on our website or contact any of our colleagues, and please do join for the full day workshop as well. In the meantime, thank you very much once again, and all the very best. Thanks.